Hello, wonderful people. How are you? Are you well? I hope so. I hope so. Are you strong? I hope so. Today I'm talking about a couple of things. I'm talking about the compassion of God, and I'm talking about teaching a man to fish. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So I don't know if you can recall me telling the story of when I talked to Jesus, right? And the feeling that I got, the feeling that I was given, this compassion, which I felt a few times, and lots of people have also said that they've felt the same thing. And it's life-altering. It's life-altering. And so I read a story the other day, and it really resonated with me because it was talking about that very thing. And it was the story of Jesus when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane. And he'd already said to Peter, "You will deny me," 3 times before the cock crows. Yeah? And so they asked Peter, and they said, "Who was this? Who is the Son of Man? Who is Jesus?" And he said, "Man, I don't know who you're talking about." Okay? And just in that moment, the cock crowed. And Peter looked, and Jesus looked him in the eye. And at that moment, he broke down into tears and left. Yeah? I think it says he left and then cried. Yeah? So, it doesn't explain any more than that. And so that leads on to the next story, which is about a man who's telling about a similar experience. And he says, for a long time I had a reasonable relationship with God and with Jesus for a long while. And I would talk to God and I would talk to Jesus and I would ask them for things. But I would never, ever look at Jesus. I always had the feeling I didn't want to look at him because perhaps if I looked into his eyes, I would see kind of recrimination or disappointment or sadness about the way that I've lived my life. He said, so I never really had the courage to look at Jesus, but I always got the sense that he was expecting me to look at him. And then one day, finally, I plucked up the courage to look at Jesus, fully expecting to see that disappointment, to see that judgment. And what he saw, said, what I saw was total compassion. What I saw was a message which was, I love you. And just like Peter, I went outside and broke into tears. And I've read that story a number of times before. And now I understand it. I didn't understand it before. And I understood it on a logical level, but I didn't understand it emotionally, and now I do. Which is we are our worst judges. We judge ourselves more than anybody. And it's actually, that energy is non-judgmental. And when you feel it, you realize that it's a feeling of everything's okay. Everything's okay. You're okay. We're okay. Yeah? I think sometimes we forget that. That's the whole point. We come here to forget that. But every now and again we can catch a glimpse of it. And remember that everything's okay. That we're okay. That you're okay. So, the next thing I wanted to talk about was when I was asking the emissaries about setting dates. They've never set dates. They've never given me dates. They won't even touch it with a barge pole. They go, no, definitely not. I mean, they do have some details, but not much. Nothing like some other people that have channel and they get these incredible details. But I said to them, so what about the people that give dates and stuff like that? Because it's still happening. I watched something the other day and they were saying, so what do you think? Do you think it's going to happen this month? It's got to be this month. And I thought, why are you still doing that? 3 years down the line. Why are you still giving these dates? And I understand because the audience wants them and it kind of keeps the ball rolling. And listen, some of those dates have kept people going. They really have. You know, in the dark times, you know, the dark days, having something to hope for, good God, was better than nout, wasn't it? Because we had nout. Yeah. But the emissary said, in the low 3D energy, everything is always constantly in flux. Okay, obviously they're in this other energy. I don't know whether it's 5D, I don't know what energy they're in, but it's a much higher energy. They said in the low energies, everything's always in flux. And that means it can change, like from one moment to the next. And so the danger is, if you give dates, they might be right at that moment, you might be getting the right information, but then something shifts and everything goes to shit. Yeah. And the emissary said, well, and what the effect of that is that the person loses credibility, which is not good, because I'm sure there are lots of people who are channeling lots of helpers, but because they give dates, they lose that bit of credibility. And they said also that it doesn't help people in the long run, because the people, after, with crying wolf, it's like after 3 or 4 times, the person's just go, oh shit, I'm not going to believe any more of that. And that's a shame as well. Because I truly believe that, this controlled dissonance, or whatever it's called, controlled opposition, I would be amazed if there was a lot of them. I would think that they're in the minority, if at all. And all that happens is that people say stuff. We're not perfect. We say stuff, we get it wrong, and then people go, yeah, controlled opposition, oh my God, keep away from them. And no, I think we need everybody in this game. Because remember, it doesn't matter whether there's controlled opposition or not. It doesn't matter, It's not going to stop it. They can't stop it. They can't. Even though they think they might be able to. No, it's bollocks. It's going to happen anyway. And so we don't have to get so controlled opposition and be really paranoid. Just let it roll. Let it roll. Okay? And just, those who resonate with you, fabulous. If they resonate with you, if some of the stuff resonates and some of the stuff doesn't, that's fine as well. It doesn't matter. As long as they make you happy. Yeah? Let them make you happy. But we're going to come to that. So, I was, I've been asked lots of times, and I think I did a little thing on the other channel about what I think about people who remove entities. Now, there's a big thing going on of people using hypnosis to remove entities from them. Yeah? And it's very common, It isn't my thing. It's not my bag. I don't go there. Just because that's not why I'm here. Yeah? But lots of people do stuff. And so that came up, and I was saying to the emissaries, look, as long as they're helping people, then I'm absolutely, that's my, this is why we're here, service to others. If it's helping people, fantastic. If it's helping people to get through this, fantastic. So I'm very, very comfortable with it. And the emissary said, yes, that's true if it's helping people. But also, the question is it empowering people? And they reminded me of the expression, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish and you feed him for life. And so the emissaries were saying, as long as the work that we do empowers people rather than creating dependency. And I think that's the real important thing. This is the judgment that we have to use. When people are giving dates, and then giving another date. Let's do it another way. The people who have the information, supposedly, yeah, they never tell you where they get the information from, or rarely do they. It's always like they've got a source, yeah. We have to believe that. They've got my contacts, intel, or whatever. And intel is a bit of a dirty word now. I think they have to use different words now, because they got it wrong so many times. So I think that doesn't help people. Doesn't empower people. When you say, look, I've got some, it's very 80s. Remember, 70s. I remember the way it used to be, which was, I have all of the information, you don't. I'm going to share the information with you, but you have to pay for the information, right? I mean, that's how it used to be, and you have to pay a lot of money. It's very 3D-ish. in my book. So it's kind of like that, I have the information, I'm not going to tell you where I get it from. I'm not going to give you all of the information as well. This is also very, very standard in the way it used to be. I can't give you all the information because if I did, you would be like me and you would know what I know. Sounds familiar, eh? Sounds familiar. Sounds like the Garden of Eden story. Okay? I won't give you all the information, otherwise you'd be like me. And then I wouldn't be able to earn any money from it or get the praise or whatever. So I think that's kind of the question that we have to ask. And everybody who's thinking about starting channels and doing all of that, that's all your intention has to be. Your intention is to be able to teach people to fish in whatever way. I mean, everyone's bringing skills to this. Bring the skills that you have and share those skills so that other people, those who want, can take that information and actually install it and become the person that they want to become and add it to whatever they own. But just saying, I have information, I'll give you it, but that's not the way forward, I don't think. But hey, that's just my opinion. It's also the opinion of the emissaries. Teach a man to fish. Yeah. So let's start teaching. I shall make you fishers of men. Who said that? Jesus, that was right. Yeah. So he had the right idea, didn't he? I'll teach you how to fish. Men have to have a bloody big hook to fish men. Big hook. Big hook. With really good bait on it. A hot dog or something like that. Yeah. Or a kebab. A kebab would probably sit nicely in a hook, wouldn't it? Yeah. Anyway, there you have it. So let's go out and teach people to fish. And remember that when God looks at you, or Jesus, or whoever, there is no judgment. There's only love. Okay? There you are. I love you all, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye. Have a lovely weekend.